So, welcome back. What I've got here is front bumper. Now, I wanted a genuine bumper because obviously it's genuine, you know it's going to fit. But they're coming increasingly hard to find in good condition. The ones I have come across are, they're past it a bit too much, to be honest. So, I've got a set of Reproduction bumpers, cheapy ones. Mainly cheaper, they've got a plastic reinforced in behind here instead of the irons. They are known to be quite full, but for the price of £45 for two bumpers, front and rear, silly to say not really. It doesn't have to stay on there forever. If it looks right and I like it, it could stay. If it doesn't, I can always find a genuine later down the line. The idea is to get the car on the road, get it working and use it. Now, Reproduction ones, a couple of things you might want to do. The irons that go on the back of here, they've got two bolts on. What I've done is undone the bolts, put a larger washer on there, a good penny washer. And the idea of that is when you do the nut tight, the larger washer allows a more even and greater force of the bolt holding this on. So this bumper sort of bracket that goes on the chassis wheels that bolts on is a lot stronger, it doesn't wiggle around. The also thing you have is moulding marks. Very easy to get rid of. So what you want to do, I've started doing some, I'll show you what I'm doing, is get a very sharp Stanley blade, and all you want to do is go around all the bits of the bumper and just gently trim off the excess parts of when it's moulded. So I'll just show you what bits are on about there. So here we are, it'll zoom in. You see all these parts here, these little edge bits, flappy little bits. Now these are all moulding marks, obviously these are remoulded, and there's lots of them left over there. There's a mark here, not a mark, moulding mark there, little bits like that. I'm just going around gently, just cutting them off, just to make it that bit nicer, because you don't want any sharp edge bits. There's lots around here, see it's not a very smooth corner. Just gently go around with a blade, trim them off, just to make it look a bit tidier. Now, obviously, red trim. You know, the rear bumper's got the red trim on, you'll want the red trim on here. Now, there's a couple of options I can do. I can either just paint this red, and see how that looks, or I can get some stick-on sort of tape you can get, like a quite a thick 10mm thick bit to stick on there and paint it as well. But if I do that, it's going to sit too high because that is quite even with a line, same as the red bumper, the originals are. So what I'm going to do is get the bumper fitted first and then sort that out later because it's not a problem. So let's get all the rest of these bits trimmed off and try to fit it. I've already got the plate gluing on. Again, I'll just go back. These are the irons bolt on. You've got a bolt there. All I've done is just put a larger washer on it. Same with the one that side. It just gives it more of a clamping force, so these don't wiggle around so much. Even though once they're bolted down and you've got the wing clamp, you're not going to have much movement. So I'm going to get these trimmed off and then roll the car back and poke it on and see what we're looking like. It's not too bad a fit. It's pretty good considering. Obviously, I haven't got wing hangers on and they're not bolted in. But fit-wise, I don't think you're going to be looking at it straight away again. Oh, that's not original. Which you know it's not. But hey ho, the idea is to get the car going. But yeah, I'll get some wing hangers for that. Then I'll get that bolted on. Might have to adjust one of the brackets a bit. But once it's bolted on and the two nuts either side are tightened down, and it's got wing hangers on, should line up nice. That's good. So, a bit more work on the bumper. So what we're going to do is paint the line. Now, on the factory ones, obviously the red line doesn't go all the way down to the bottom, it stops about yay. So all we'll do is mask up an area, so the red line will just stop. So it sort of marries into what the OEM bumper would have been. Obviously, we've got that raised bit on the OEM bumper. But we'll come to that later on. Like I said, if it doesn't look too good, at least it's on there for a little bit. We can always get a genuine bumper later down the line, but it's going to take a bit of an OEM geek to catch on to those lip points there. So what we can do, get on, put some red paint on there, let it dry. Right, so we've got some small bumper clips. Now these go in the top hole. So when you get it, if you buy a new one, it comes with a little foam sticker. Now this sticker sits on there first. Simple, just peel off the back and whop it on. These are from Heritage. Obviously you can buy them anywhere else, but Heritage has them in stock and they'll have a next day delivery for a good price. So that sits on there. Now these have got that centre section, you can see, pushes through and wedges this out. So all you want to do really is, I like to push that section out just a touch more. Well, it's come out anyway. So it's all open. So when you put it in there, it allows those to fully compress and pop in on the inside of the wing. There you go. So they pop straight inside there. Then all you want to do is push this, line it back up inside there, and it's a bit of force to push that in. And you want to push it down till it's flush. There, so that's on. You can see it's then compressed that foam. It's nice and tight, it's not going anywhere. And that the inside of there is nice and flush. Now we've just got to get a grommet in that side and then put the other side on. Then we can line the bumper on and bolt it on. So another thing you want to do, as this is a reproduction bumper, these nuts are not going to be secured in this metal as strong as they would have been from the factory. They are just sort of fused in there, welded. So what you want to do, before you put the bumper in, your bolts that go in these, make sure they go in that thread nice and smoothly, because what you don't want to do is get the bumper on, get one of your bolts in there, and it gets the top of that thread, cross-threads itself or sticks, and you do it too tight, and then that snaps off, because you're going to have a nut and bolt stuck inside there, which means you're going to have to pull the bumper apart, take the bolt out, absolute nightmare. I've had it done once before and it's a pain. So all I'm going to do on those is get some copper slip, lob those in there, so I know when it goes in, the nuts and bolts are going to smoothly go in there. And you, again, you don't want to do them tight, get them up, little nip. Again, you don't want to do it too tight and damage that. So I'll get some copper slip on those and get it lined up again and bolted on. Well, I wasn't lying when I said the bolts will come out the bumper quite easily, because they did. Well, one of them did. Very annoying. Luckily it was a front one this side. Those two, fine, nuts and bolts in, not a problem. The rear one, this side's in. Let's turn the light on. Luckily, the front one you can just get to. So what I've done, I've used a new nut and bolt in there, so at least when you get it in, a bit of contortionist, bend your hand down, and so just hold the nut in there so the thread goes in, and then you can just reach a spanner in, tighten it all up. So, lucky escape. Bumper don't fit too bad. It's lined up quite nice. I've also got the tape in it because I'm in mid painting this bumper, but yeah, it's lined up quite nice. So I'm just going to tighten that up and double check. Right, so that's the bumper all bolted on. So for a remold bumper or a reproduction bumper, it sits pretty nice. You've got a nice even gap between the body line there and there. The only one I found out is, see the edge of the bumper there, you've got the line. That line just sort of sits just under the wing. And this side sits just outside, but you've still got the same gap under there. There's just a sort of larger gap sort of on that corner, which is just down to the moulding. It's got a nice even gap under there from front to back. It looks massive in the pictures, but nice even gap all along. The grill's not fully sat in. But yeah, not bad for something that's, you know, a reproduction of something that was made 30 years ago. That's pretty good. Nice texture on it. It's nice and solid. Like I said, that's the only one bugbear. I've tried adjusting the brackets on here, loosen it, try and push it in a bit more, but that's where it is. I mean, I could try and give it a bit more and bend the bracket so it holds up a bit closer, but I'm happy for now. So I'm going to continue painting this line, let that dry, pull the tape off, and then see where we are from that. Right, so this is all dry. what we've been using, and we've got 3 coats on there. What we've been using is the Tamica colour. This is obviously red. The code there is X-7. Pretty good paint, quite hard wearing. It's the same sort of brand as I used on the inlet manifold. Nice small brush. It's gone on quite well. So now we'll just gently pull that tape off and see what we're looking at. Well, that's good. It looks good so far. Let's try the top bit. I don't know about you, but that looks pretty damn good. So that's come up pretty good. I've done it to the moulding mark on there, which is roughly where you would have the other bit on the other sort of normal GTI bumpers, plus as an even mark each side. They've both got a mould mark there. Makes sense to go to that bit. Bit's gone through the tape on the bumper there. A couple of hours to go over and make it touch up, but that it does marry in colour shade with the original red. Obviously this is original, that's slightly brighter, but obviously once that's had a clean up, it'll match up lovely. Again, that side, again just under the same moulding mark. So that looks pretty good. Now, one thing with the reproduction bumpers, the reason a lot of them don't come with red lines is purely simply down to cost. For a company to have all the machinery and manufacturing facilities to reproduce a bumper costs thousands. Now, obviously as a business you want a return on that. So if you're spending out a couple of thousand, well not a couple of thousand, thousands of pounds getting the mould in pretty good like this to get a bumper, you want it to be as saleable as possible. So as again, there's limited numbers of GTIs, chrome ones and black ones, obviously red stripe and the blue stripe for the G60 limited, which is obviously pretty rare. So the simplest option is to do one that fits all. So one small bumper with no line on it, which fits 99% of Mark II Golf small bumpers. So that's where you're going to get your return of money. Obviously, with people who want red ones, there are red ones, you can get them. Most places like Classic VW, etc. are out of stock. Because they produce so many and it's not worth the company reproduce anymore. You can get standard ones still, original ones, they're just very few and far between. Like I said, let it down the line if I want to get genuine on there, then I can, but at the moment, that's a little bit on the wing there, the edge just needs a touch up. Apart from that, that looks really good, so much chuffed with that. So what I'm doing is just pop an indicator in. I've got the standard indicators, orange ones, one back with the lens. I've got a lens for the other side, but I haven't got a back for that, so that's on its way, along with some reverse registration plate lights and some gas struts for the bonnet, boot even. So I'm just going to pop that indicator in, and then that'll be it for tonight. There we go, there's one of the indicators in. Those lenses only go one way round on the holes at the back, so it's not hard to get wrong. So there we go, much chuff with that. All I need to do is let that paint settle itself for a day or so, and then I can get some bumper treatment on there, bringing it up nice and shiny. Dust the grill as well because it's getting very dusty. So there we go, reproduction bumper, tweaked, bolted on, a few issues but it's on there, it looks good, it's not damaged like the other ones, so it's best of both worlds. Next is, like I said, we've got another indicator coming, get that popped on, and then we're into the boot to do tailgate struts, registration plate lights. What else we got to do? A few other bits. But there we go. So I'll get this edited and I'll stick it up. So thanks to all the subscribers again, and thanks for all the positive comments. anything I can do to help you, just stick it in the comments and let me know. Cheers.